Sit up straight. Press your hands down, lengthen up through your side waist, side chest. Move your arm bones back and rotate your upper arms out. You don't have to take your arms to the side, but I'm just showing it's that way. So thumbs back, palms up. And then keep the rotation in your shoulder, the lift in your chest. Rest your hands on your thighs and close your eyes. Descend your thighs. Keep the weight even on your two sitting bones. Lengthen up through the front of your body. Soften your neck and throat. Release your jaw. Rest your tongue into the base of your mouth. Take slow, even breaths. And then gently open your eyes. Stretch your legs out. And then take a blanket or a towel and just roll up the edge a little. If you're thinner, maybe you need to roll it up a little more. We're going to do child's pose, but I want a little roll right at the tops of the thighs. So if you're thinner, the thighs don't push up so much, the abdomen doesn't go down so much, so you need a bigger roll. So I push the roll down so it gets stuck, and then I come into child's pose. And it'll be a little harder to get my head down. So don't worry about that as much. I mean, if you want, you can take a brick and put it there, but we'll just be here for a minute or so. So this roll helps you release any, I think it was kind of crunchiness in the front of the hip, a little stiffness there. It doesn't feel like
to me, it doesn't feel like stiffness, like the hamstrings might feel stiffness. It almost feels like there's too much in the way. There's something that's keeping me from bending forward, and it doesn't feel like stiffness. But I think that's what it is. And then try to keep yourself as low as possible and pull the blanket out. And see if that feels a little easier than child's pose normally does. I mean, for some people, child's pose feels easy all the time. All right, lift yourself back up.
Come onto your hands and knees. Spread your palms. Tuck your toes under. Lift your hips up. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Press your hands strongly into the floor. Have the weight even between the index finger and little finger side of the hand. As you press your hands strongly into the floor, press the entire circle of the palm into the floor, and move your hips further and further back. Then walk your hands back towards your feet. Fold forward into Uttanasana. Have the weight even between the front and back of the foot. And then press your hands on your hips, elbows to the ceiling. Inhale, come all the way up. All right. So take a blanket or a towel, and you can fold it this way. So you take it from the normal fold, fold it in half. And place that on the floor. Messy. And you round the rounded side. I mean, will it make a huge difference? Probably. You want the rounded side facing you. And you're going to place the balls of your feet on the blanket and your heels on the floor. Then bend forward into Uttanasana. All right, if your hands don't quite reach the floor, you'll need some bricks. If they reach the floor, then you won't. So go down as low as you can. And see how lifting the fronts of the feet changes the stretch of the legs. Then walk forward and place your heels on the blanket. So now you're in 1 inch heels or 2 inch heels or something like that. So that you're still doing Uttanasana, but your heels are up and your toes are down. Place your hands on your hips, come all the way up. All right, some of you will need blocks for this next one. So we're gonna walk it out into dog pose. So the heels are down, the toes are up, and then walk your hands forward into downward facing dog. So your hand, this is a fairly short dog, but hands could be on the floor or on bricks. Or if you're really tight, no one on the video looks that tight, but if he's someone else, you can have your hands on a chair. But your heels have to stay on the ground. You may notice, other than a strong stretch in your calves, that it's a little easier to lift the fronts of the thighs up here. Okay. Walk forward so that your heels are on the blanket, and then you can walk your hands forward if you have room. So this is a little easier on the hamstrings, but it's also easier to lift the backs of the thighs with the heels up. So I've been saying recently, lift the fronts of the thighs, lift the backs of the thighs. You have to do both. But this helps you access that a little. All right, and then walk your hands back towards your feet. Lift yourself back up. So I always like to see what will make a pose harder and what will make a pose easier. So some of you are quite flexible. So I decided to make this pose harder for you. All right, so I've angled 2 bricks on the blanket. So if the first one, you could barely get your hands down, then this is only going to make it harder. So that would be stage 1. Stage 2 would be to have, or this could be 2.5 actually, because both of them are kind of the same. So the toes on the bricks and the heels on the floor, this is a steeper angle. Or you can place the entire foot, this one's kind of fun, on the brick. The floor is now further away. With this one, the floor is the same distance away, but this one I've now gotten the floor a little further away. And I'm gonna
keep my heels down, and come forward into downward dog. So it would look the same if I was here. Can't come forward quite as much. Oh. Can't keep my foot there either. There we go. All right, so try one of those or try both of those. If you have narrower blocks, it will be slightly easier.
Mary, are the heels supposed to stay on the block?
Yeah.
Ooh, not happy.
All right, walk back in. And come up. So you guys may be familiar with this. That's why I had a chair out today. Because we've done this in class, for those that just come to class, where the heels, the whole foot was in the chair. And we came down like this. So if you didn't have one of these chairs, you can get the same feeling with any kind of chair, as long as you had a couple of bricks. Like this. So if you want to feel what it feels like on the bricks, you can have the 2 bricks, and you can have a couch or any kind of chair, and come into downward facing dog. So just try it out, see what you think. You can use, if you use an upside down chair, make sure your heels are cushioned because it's a little, yeah. You want your entire foot in the chair. So, yes, there we go. And then you can come down as low as possible. Lean a little bit forward, Chaya. There we go, perfect. Yeah. All right. Come back up. Move that stuff to the side. Keep your bricks. So we're going to work on a few standing poses, focusing on the hamstrings. So we warmed up the hamstrings a little bit. Starting Tadasana. Bring your hands in front of your chest. Take your arms and legs wide. Press your feet into the floor, lift your inner thighs up, extend out through your fingertips. Turn your right leg out. Bring your right hand down. Press down strongly through your right foot and move your right hip forward. Forward meaning not towards your head, but for most of you towards the camera. Lift your inner left thigh. Rotate your stomach and your chest towards the ceiling. And then move your chest a little bit towards your chin. This can be overdone, especially for people that like to back bend. All right, now keeping your right heel on the ground, lift the front of your right foot up, as if it had a blanket there. Then, keep that right hip tucked in and stretch the toes forward. Press to the outer left foot, inhale, lift up. Go to the other side. Turn your left leg all the way out, keep both legs straight. Take your left hand out. Press down strongly with your left foot, move your left hip forward. Then lift your inner right thigh. Push down more strongly with the outer left foot. Rotate your abdomen and your chest towards the ceiling. Then keeping your left heel down, lift the front of the foot up. For some people, this makes the pose easier. I'm one of them. And then keep that hip moving forward, stretch the foot forward. Press through your outer right foot, inhale, lift up, turn your toes to the front. Take your hands on your hips, roll your shoulders back, lift your chest. Turn your right leg out, lift your arms up. That was a rare, compassionate moment. Bring your right hand down, Trikonasana again. Roll your chest towards the ceiling. Move your right hip forward. Take your left hand to your hip. Bend your front leg. Roll your chest towards the ceiling. Take your left arm over your head. Shavasana. Descend your hips, especially your right hip. Lift your inner left thigh. Rotate your chest. You can look up towards the ceiling or keep your head on straight. Extend through your left fingertips. Now bring your left hand to your hip. Step your left foot in. Step mine back. Move the brick forward to the little toe side of your right foot. Stamp down onto your right leg. Lift your left leg up. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Press your right thigh back. Roll your abdomen up. Roll your chest up. And lift your left arm up. Bring your left hand to your hip. Bend your right leg, step back with your left leg. Come back into Parshvakonasana. Usually we go through this pose with Trikonasana, but really it's kind of this Parshvakonasana. Lift your left arm up, straighten your right leg. Now it's Trikonasana. Press through your left foot, inhale, come up. Go to the other side. Take a breath. With your next exhalation, bring your left arm down. Bring your right hand to your hip. Bend your left leg. Adjust your stance. Really descend that left hip. Rotate your chest. Rotate your abdomen. Take your right arm over your head. Lift the inner right leg. Rotate your chest. Look up underneath your arm, if that's appropriate for your neck. Then bring your right arm to your hip again. Step forward with your right leg. Move your left hand forward onto the little toe side of the foot. Press down with your left leg, lift your right leg up. Rotate your chest, rotate your hips. Keep both legs straight. And then lift your right arm up. Bring your right hand to your hip, bend your left leg, step back with your right into this side lunge. Take your right arm up, straighten your left leg. Trikonasana. Press through your right foot, inhale, come up. Turn your feet to the front and take your arms and legs back together. All right, put both blocks on the right side of the mat or the front of the mat, depending on how you're facing. Move your thighs back, lift your chest, take your arms in front of your chest, and then since there's two blocks there, you might want to step. All right, Parshvottanasana. Take your hands to your hips. One of the reasons I'm doing this is there's a wall really close behind me, so if I turn with my arms out, I'll hit the wall. Turn to your right. So turn your left foot in deeply, right leg out 90 degrees. Hands to your hips, lift your chest, look up. Now as you're looking up, bring your attention to your feet. See that your right foot is pressing strongly into the floor, especially the big toe side. Left foot is pressing strongly into the floor, outside of the foot. And with an exhale, fold forward, bring your hands down to your bricks. Come to a flat back if you can. So whatever height of bricks you need for a flat back. You can bring your hands to the floor and have a flat back, that's fine too. Now here, press the right thigh back, press the left thigh back. Roll, for most people, you need to roll the left thigh in. That's not always true. Then I'm going to remove a brick so you can see. You're going to keep the heel on the ground and lift the front of the foot up. So just like we were in using the chair or using dog pose, lifting the front of the foot up. Helps you lift the front of the leg up. Moves your right hip back. And then you can go down as low as you can, but you have to keep the foot lifted. And then lower your right foot, and maybe you can go down a little bit lower. Inhale, come up to a flat back again. Press your thighs back, press your hips back, move your chest forward. Now bring your hands to your hips, elbows to ceiling. Inhale, lift up, look up to the ceiling, and then come back to center. Turn your feet forward, and then move your bricks to the other side of the mat. Turn your left leg all the way out, turn your right leg in. Keep both legs straight. Hands to your hips, elbows back. Inhale, lift your chest, look up. Exhale, fold over. Come to a flat back. Sometimes this is referred to as the concave stage. Move your outer left hip back. You're going for evenness in the hips. And then lift the front of the left foot up. As high as it will go. As if there was a chair or, another block there. Then, keeping the legs straight, keeping the foot up, come down as low as your flexibility will allow. Then lower the foot down. Then you might be able to come down a little lower. Inhale, come up to a flat back. Place your hands on your hips. Inhale, lift up, look up towards the ceiling, slight back bend. Come back to center. Turn your feet forward. Well, since we're here, take your elbows back. Inhale, lift your chest, look up. Exhale, fold forward. Bring your hands to the floor, flat back or blocks. Look forward. And then walk your hands back in line with your heels. Head down. Walk your hands forward. Inhale, lift your chest, hands to your hips. Come all the way back up. Step your feet together. All right. Next, we are going to do a dog split. Or Urdhva Prasarita Eka Tadasana, however you like to look at it. Let's see, I need a wall that you can see from the sides. Let's see if I turn this just a touch. Okay, that'll work. So close to the wall, one foot down, one foot up. And this time, sometimes we focus on the back leg. That's when we're doing back bends. Today, I want you to focus on the front leg. So you're trying to bring your torso as close to your leg as possible. All right. So find a wall and be a bit away from the wall. So it's not the focus on the back leg, although the back leg's important. You want to be at least a foot away, maybe 2 feet. I'm about somewhere between 18 inches. And just lift the leg up, roll that hip down. Then move your chest as close to your thigh as possible. Keep pushing your hands into the floor to get yourself closer and closer to that thigh. If you're feeling it in the top leg, then just move yourself further forward. See if you can pull yourself closer in by using one of your arms.
Probably the same arm as leg is a little easier. Keep both legs straight. If you can't keep the top leg straight, move further away from the wall. If you can't keep the bottom leg straight, use bricks. All right, bring the top leg down. Take a breath. Lift the other leg up. Have evenness in your hips. Chances are the top leg hip is the one that rolls up. Keep both your legs straight and push yourself in closer and closer to your standing leg. Adjust accordingly, because your legs probably have different flexibilities. You can pull yourself in with your arms, or you can push yourself in with your arms. All right, come down. Okay. You'll still need the wall. And a strap would be nice as well. So go grab a strap. We're going to do Uttita Hasta Padangusthasana. So that goes. And one of the hardest things to figure out is your hip in line with your heel? So depending on, this is the more common mistake. My foot is too far back. I want this. It should feel difficult to balance. If it's too easy, you're probably leaning into the wall. Rarely do I see the foot come too far forward. And then you can place a strap on the foot to hold on to and lift up. So get that far. Yes. We're going to be doing that one too, Sopo. Not to worry. But you can do that one already. Why move to the wall? All right, now look down at your standing leg foot and see if the toes are pointing towards the wall. Chances are they're rolling out. So since you have the wall, you can look at the foot. All right. You can also straighten your bottom leg. Yes, that's the one. Laura, roll your left foot in a little bit. Let's see. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Pull on the strap, take your shoulders back, lift your chest as if you were going to do a back bend. Wouldn't that be fun? All right. Switch sides. You probably don't need to move your bottom leg. So press your standing leg thigh back. See if you can lift your toes. That would be another way of saying if the weight is far enough back. If your weight is forward, it's a little harder to lift the toes. It's not impossible, it's just a little harder. Pull on the strap, lift your chest. Look down at your bottom leg, see if the toes are pointing towards the wall. All right, go to the first side again. And this time, see if you can get your leg a little higher up. If you're already at your max,
You're already at your max, it's not a big deal. In order to get your leg higher up, you need to take the bottom foot in closer. Eventually in this pose, although I think the only person I've seen do it is Devin with any kind of grace, is to bring your chin towards your shin with your leg lifted in the middle of the room. So you want to get your leg as high as possible so you don't have to bend down quite so far. And you could, with the wall, it's a little easier to bend down. You can pull on the strap and see what that feels like. I mean, it feels hard even with the wall. All right, change sides. You can go a little bit higher, but the legs have to remain straight. First upright, pulling onto the strap, lifting your chest, and then possibly folding over the lifted leg. Very, very difficult to do in the center of the room. Your leg actually has to be really high in order to do it. I guess in Bikram they do it with their legs straight out, so I guess it doesn't have to be. All right, and lower that leg down. Now you're going to turn, so your right hip is facing the wall. So we're going to do all of them at the wall, and then we'll do them in the center of the room. Well, not, we're doing these two. So Parshva and Tadasana body Tadasana. So now the leg is out to the side, and you want it as high as possible again. So this looks to me a lot like Trikonasana, just a wide Trikonasana. So if I was in Trikonasana, it would look like this. And I'm just holding it with one arm. In this case, I don't know which side you have up, but in this case, my left hip is facing forward, parallel to the wall. I'm trying to keep my right foot in line with my left instep. So sometimes I teach this with the foot forward because it's easier to level the hips. But today it's just going to go as high as it can and as far back as it can, like it would if you were in shoulder stand. All right, change sides. So flip around. I'll do it this way so I can still see the screen. Get up there, leg. There we go.
Hey, Mary,
Yeah,
you want the standing leg to be perpendicular to the floor, right?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you could be more of an like a middle split, I guess, or kind of wide. But it's very hard to balance that way when you get out to the side of the room. So you want your lifted leg heel to be in line with your standing leg instep as much as possible, and the leg as high as possible. Both legs are straight. All right, lower that leg down. Now, we're going to do this in the center of the room. So you could do this with your back against the wall. A door frame works actually really well if you can grip onto something. I guess I'll just scoot over. You could also do this with a chair for your opposite arm. So if you're lifting in this case, this is my right, my left hand's on the chair. All right. Now, one thing about this pose is it's harder with a strap than it is with your hand. So I'm going to show with the strap because it's harder. I'm going to show with the strap with a nice grip. So sometimes the wrists give out. So I have a strap looped all the way, and then I fold it in half. And I'm going to place it on the back of my wrist like this. And then I'm going to loop my foot. Oh, I guess I'll do my opposite right. All right. Pull your knee up as high as possible. You can have the wall behind you or a chair to your side. You want your knee facing straight up, not out to the side. And then straighten your right leg. Your left hand can come onto your hip. Find your balance here. Press your standing leg thigh back. Lift your chest. And then pull your lifted leg as high as you can. So if you want to grab it, if you can get it higher, you can grab with your first two fingers and thumb and lift the leg higher. Now you can kind of see how difficult it would be to bend forward without the leg really high up. Whoa. All right, bend your knee, lower that leg down. Take a breath. All right, second side. Bring the knee in. Find your balance. Find your balance, Mary. And then straighten your leg. Press the standing leg thigh back. And as you lift your lifted leg up, take that shoulder back. The other shoulder's already back, most likely, especially if your hand's on your hip. And if you feel like you can go higher, you can grab onto the toe. I guess I could show this from the side. And lift up. Then bend your knee, release it to the ground. All right, now out to the side. So if you like this strap, you can use this strap. You're going to have more power if you connect with your own foot. So for this one, I'm going to show the big toe grab. I forget which leg we started on. Anyway. So now, rather than the knee in front, take the knee as far out to the side as possible, either with the strap or without the strap. Then start to straighten that leg. It's very difficult to look at the camera. All the different pictures and balance at the same time. That's hard to balance anyway. I find it's easier to balance with my other arm out, but the book shows it like this. All right, bend your knee, release that side down. Sticky net dance. Whew. All right, other side. Keep your standing leg strong. Take your lifted leg out to the side, as far as it will go. Then begin to straighten. And see how high you can lift it. And move it out to the side. Good. Bend your knee, release it down. All right. Downward facing dog. Bend your knees, rest in child's pose. All right. So because we're working on hamstrings for Shavasana today, if you're not doing Shavasana, you can do Prasarada Tadasana. You can do Shavasana prep. If you're comfortable in Shavasana, we will do Ekapada. So that looks like this. One leg stays up, one leg comes halfway down, one leg stays up, Parshva Ekapada, one leg goes down. All right, so this should look like what you just did, except upside down. If you're not comfortable in Shavasana, I don't practice those variations very often, but they kind of fit with the theme. They're a little harder on the neck, so if you have difficulty in your neck in Shavasana, probably don't want to do these right now. All right, so go up. I'm going to watch. So headstand or Prasarada Tadasana, or the wide-legged forward bend. So. Your choice. So headstand prep is a dog pose with the elbows down. Yeah. And if you're doing dog pose with the elbows down, you can also lift one leg at a time to make it more interesting. If you're in Shavasana, keep your left leg where it is, take your right leg halfway down. Lift the outer right hip, keep your left thigh pressing back. Lift that leg up. Regain your balance. Now, opposite side, take your left leg halfway down. Press your right thigh back. Lift your outer left hip. Bring that leg back up. Reset. Turn your right leg as far as you can to the right. Keep your left leg pressing back. Take your right leg halfway down. When you take your right leg halfway down, you have to press a lot stronger with your right arm. Lift that leg back up. Turn your left leg out. This is harder to do in dog pose. Take your left leg down. Press strongly through your left arm. Lift that leg back up. Take a breath here. Then bend your knees. Come down, everyone come into child's pose. Rest for a moment there.
All right, back up. Get a brick for Tadasana, for bridge pose. And then I'll show you what we're going to do. It's going to be very familiar with what we just did in a way. So you come onto the brick. You could do this without a brick, but you have to be fairly hardcore. And you're going to lift one leg up, try to straighten this leg. My leg doesn't straighten all the way. And then bring the foot back and take it out to the side. You won't be able to go that far without falling over. So first, come into Tadasana with a brick, roll your shoulders under. Be here for a moment, enjoying the fact that you're on a brick. And then lift your right leg straight up to the ceiling. You're looking at your right leg, so you should be able to tell if it's straight. And then with your right leg straight up, walk your left leg out. You could have your heel lifted or pointed, depending on your ankles, actually. Then bring your left leg back in, bend your knee, lower your right leg down. Lift your left leg up, straight up. Walk your right leg out. Press down with the inner sole of the foot, that's on the floor, that's your right. Then walk the right leg back in, lower the left leg down. Lift the right leg back up. Keep the left leg bent, take the right leg over to the right. It won't go very far. Press down with the left waist. Then bring the right leg back up, bend your knee, lower it down, lift your left leg up. And maybe yours will go far. Mine doesn't go very far without toppling over. Take my left leg over to the side. Descend your right waist. And bring it back to the center, lower that leg down. Lift your hips, remove the brick, keep your hips lifted. All right, roll your shoulders under. Move your feet a little bit towards each other, so they're more in the center. Bend your right leg, lift your right leg up. Maybe take it a little bit to the side, back to the center, lower your right leg down. Press down with your heels, lift your hips, then lift your left leg up. Maybe take it a little over to the side, maybe not. You can't do it for very long. Bring the left leg back to the center, lower the left leg down, lift your hips again, and then exhale, lower your hips to the floor. And just enjoy being on the floor for a moment. Roll to your side, lift yourself up. All right, so we've worked fairly hard for a forward bending class, but it's time for Sarvangasana. So if you want to use a chair, that's okay. We're going to be doing those same variations in Sarvangasana,
they're not really practical on a chair. So if you want to do the variations, you got to do it from the floor. All right, if you're not doing Sarvangasana, you can go back to where we were and sit in Tutush, or you can do very similar to Tutush. Oops, legs aren't quite that long. Supported bridge pose. This is with 2 blocks with my imaginary wall. All right. So set up, how are you gonna set up? Either full shoulder stand or chair shoulder stand, or a lot of options, Mary, or bridge. And I'll just see what people are set up for. So I'm going to show full shoulder stand because the other ones have already been shown. And my stack of blankets. I like a lot of blankets. I have a stiff neck. In fact, my blankets are even higher than my blocks. That's how many blankets. Let's see. I'm going to turn my camera down. Oh, that's messed it up. So go into shoulder stand or bridge pose when you're ready. In shoulder stand, the head is on the floor, the shoulders are on the blankets. Otherwise, there's no point in using the blankets. Whatever pose you're in, your shoulders are rolled under. Your upper arms compress into the floor. Your neck is soft. Throat is soft. Your jaw, relax your jaw. You want to move your chest toward your chin, not your chin toward your chest. You're looking up at your legs, make sure both of them are straight. Extend through the big toe mound. All right. So look at the ceiling if you're doing the variations. And glue your left foot to the ceiling and take your right leg forward, about halfway down. Lift your outer right hip. Look at your right leg. Is it straight? Is it strong? Lift your right leg back up. Reset. Find a spot on the ceiling for your right leg. Glue it there. Take your left leg down, about halfway. In the full pose, the foot goes all the way to the floor. Maybe we'll do that next. You might have to give up a little bit of the top leg in order to do that. Lift the left foot back up. Reset. Now, you're going to try to keep your left leg glued. Take your right leg halfway down. And then with your next exhalation, see how low your right leg will go to the floor. You might go to the floor, you might have to move your hips forward to take it to the floor, whatever, just take it down. And then come back up. You might even have to bend your knees, or you might fall out of the pose. Things happen. All right, reset shoulder stand, Sarvangasana. Then try to keep your right leg where it is as you lower your left leg down, halfway at first. And then with your next exhalation, lower it down. On this side, I'm a little tighter, so my leg comes further forward. Not that you can see because you're in shoulder stand.
someone theoretically was just watching this. All right, and come back up. All right, so this is the one where we normally turn it out about 45 degrees. I did not plan ahead because I have a door in the way, but I'm going to turn my right leg out as far as it will go, and then take it halfway down. Keeping my left leg steady. Lift your right leg up. Turn your left leg as far out as it will go, and take it halfway down to the floor. And just like in headstand, you'll notice that the weight goes really strongly on the left side and you take the left leg down, so push the weight onto the right side. Push stronger with the left hand, lift the left leg up. All right, let's see how far down that leg will go. Turn your right leg out, and then bring it as low to the floor as possible. Oh, we should have stopped halfway. Oh well, you can stop halfway. Lift that leg back up. All right. Turn your left leg out. We'll stop halfway this time. Come halfway. Keeping the left hip lifted. And then see if you can come down a little lower. Lift that leg back up. Reset shoulder stand. Bring your feet over your head. Halasana. Lift both eyes to the ceiling. Plow pose. And then slowly roll up. If you're in a different pose, you're gonna lift, if you're on bricks, you're gonna lift your hips, remove the bricks, and come down. If you're on a chair, you'll just come down the normal way, putting your feet on the chair and sliding off. Roll to your side, and lift yourself up. Take your legs wide. Press your thighs down, toes up. If you can't sit upright, sit on a blanket. So if you're leaning backwards, sit on a blanket until you're upright. Do not neglect. Okay. If this is comfortable, make it uncomfortable. Come forward. Keep your knees pointing towards the ceiling as you come forward. This would be a good time to find a blanket or a block to rest your head upon. Or chair. Or a combination of props. Somewhere where you're reasonably comfortable, but also where your inner thighs are getting a little stretched. At the same time, don't let your legs go limp. Press your legs strongly into the floor. Spread your toes.
Walk your hands back in. Bring your legs together. Tadasana, and again, you should be able to sit up with a straight back. And if you can't, then you need support under your hips. All right, reach forward, grab your legs, grab your feet, lift your chest, and then fold over your legs. And again, you can have support here. Paschimottanasana. Press your thighs down. So keep working your legs in this forward bend. See how much you can lift your thighs toward your hips. Inhale, come up. And it's time for Shavasana. So lie back. If there's any feeling of tension in your lower back, keep your knees bent. Maybe resting on a chair or with the feet apart and the knees together. Press your heels into the floor and pretend that you're moving yourself towards your head. It'll lengthen the lower back, although that's all we've been doing is lengthening the lower back. But sometimes it still feels good to do that here. Otherwise, have your arms out to the side, legs straight, relaxed. Possibly something under your head. Rest the weight of your body into the floor. Soften your neck and throat. Release your jaw. Rest your tongue into the base of your mouth. And use the next few moments to focus on your breath. Deepen your breath. Bend your knees. Roll to your side. Lift yourself back up to seated. Take your arms wide, lift your chest. Bring your palms together in front of your heart. Think of something you're grateful for. Namaste.